everyone, the title of today's passage is The Parable of the Lost Son. This parable shows well of what relation would be between God and the lost. We are in the status of the lost. So Jesus illustrates of the relation with this beautiful parable. So let's dive into the passage. Verse 11. Jesus continued, there was a man who had two sons. The younger one said to his father, "Father, give me my share of the estate." So he divided his property between them. Not long after that, the younger son got together all he had, set off for a distant country, and there squandered his wealth in wild living. As soon as he left the presence of his father, he couldn't control his mind, and after he had spent, so he desired that he wanted to leave the presence of his father, because his father always gave him lessons and directions and guidance. So he really disliked his father's lessons. So he set off for a distant country. In the distant country, he thought he would be free from the father's lesson. And the result was he squandered his wealth in wild living. After he had spent everything, there was a severe famine in that whole country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to a citizen of that country, who sent him to his fields to feed pigs. He longed to fill his stomach with the pods that the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. Even though he wanted to eat, he wanted to fill his stomach with the pig's food, but nobody had such favor. Feed his stomach with such the animal food. 17. When he came to senses, he said, "How many of my father's hired servants have food to spare, and here I am starving to death. I will set out and go back to my father and say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against the heavens and the earth, and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants.' So he got up and went to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him, and kissed him." We can see how much the father was overjoyed when he met the lost son. 21. The son said to him, "Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son." But the father said to his servants, "Quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate." Even though the son wasted all his father's wealth in the distant country with wild living, however, However, the father who should have done angry acted differently. The father loved his son rather than any wealth. Any wasting wealth was not the matter. He wouldn't hinder the father's heart. 25. Meanwhile, the older son was in the field. When he came near the house, he heard music and dancing. So he called one of his servants and asked him what was going on. So the father had two sons, and here the first son was coming back from the work, and he was wondering what was going on. 27. Your brother has come, he replied, and your father has killed the fattened calf because he has him back safe and sound. The older brother became angry and refused to go in, so his father went out and pleaded with him. But he answered his father, Look, all these years I have been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders, yet you never gave me even a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. The first son was filled with so much complaint. In the statement, actually the first son couldn't have any gratitude, any feeling, any the deep relationship with God. He couldn't understand the heart of his father at all, so that this statement happened. 30. But when the son of yours who has squandered your property with prostitute comes home, you kill the fattened calf for him. Actually, it sounds like reasonable. However, the content was not right at all, because the first son had the blessing, have been living a beautiful life, have been living a blessed life under the father's protection, under father's love. However, the first son was the lost, because even though he was beside the father, he couldn't have a connection with the father. He didn't know the heart of the father at all. So the father came to the first son and expound why you are the most blessed. 31. My son, the father said, you are always with me, and everything I have is yours. But we have to celebrate and be glad, because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. So the God's heart, God's mind, God's the father understand. He was lost and is found. This is the mind that God is towards us. God is thinking about us. Thank you for listening to Isaac Bible Class.